Trade talks intensifying, and this has serious implications for the Rams defense for the 2025 season for a star cornerback, as well as the Rams defense generating pressure in unique ways. I have a deep dive look into that, all that and more on this episode of Rams Digest. And welcome back to another episode of Rams Digest. I'm your host, Joshua Finehirsh, and before we get into it, hit that subscribe button and hit that bell so you do not miss any daily new Rams Digest content covering all things Rams. And when you hit the bell, turn your notifications to all to make sure you get them, because sometimes YouTube notification system is not always perfect, and that is okay. But remember to subscribe to the channel as always. And today we have a new report from Yahoo Sports and some ESPN analysts about Jalen Ramsey trade talks intensifying and some more realistic ballpark offers as to what the Rams and a couple other teams who are in the running for Jalen Ramsey as well will look to offer him, as that is the player we are going to be talking about today for this main story. And we're going to get into it right now. And no team has been linked to Jalen Ramsey more than the Los Angeles Rams this past offseason. In this current offseason, they've spoken publicly about their interest in trading for the Miami Dolphins cornerback, though Sean McVay has recently said that there hasn't been any meaningful, tangible dialogue on that front just yet. It doesn't sound like teams are aggressively pursuing Ramsey due to his sizable contract, but he's still expected to be traded in the coming days and/or weeks, according to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler. And this is very, very important to note that Ramsey has a shot to be cut as well, just because that guaranteed money is not great. $24 million guaranteed on a 3-year, $72 million contract extension that starts up this upcoming season. So for a team trading for Ramsey, most likely the Rams, but we do not know that for sure just yet. And so whoever trades for him will have to most likely take on a lot of this money. The Dolphins will have to take some of it if they trade him in order to even move him, just because he is coming off of a down season. 2 interceptions, 11 passes defensed, 60 tackles, 4 quarterback hits. Not necessarily the season you wanted from Ramsey. The first time he hasn't made the Pro Bowl in a few seasons. 7-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All-Pro. A little bit on the downturn. However, I do believe he can have a bounce-back season. Not to being in his prime, but just to being better than he was last year, as we're going to get more into the actual details of this offer right now. And on Wednesday, ESPN's panel of NFL analysts pitched trade proposals for players who could be dealt, including Ramsey and Jeremy Fowler, as well as longtime ESPN analyst Dan Graziano. Both laid out offers that the Rams could make for Ramsey, and the cost is minimal from a compensation standpoint. And this is exactly what the Rams should be looking to do. They should not be looking to add in any players who will cost, high to mid picks, first through fourth round. I don't believe the Rams are in a state where they need to trade any of those picks right now. They do have the extra first round pick from Atlanta for this upcoming draft in 2026. We'll see how that pick is used, whether it's to draft the next quarterback or whether it is in a trade for a high impact player, which I believe the Rams season would have to be going catastrophically wrong injury-wise in order for that to happen. Let's hope that doesn't happen. I'm going to knock on wood here on my winning desk and make sure to like this video so the Rams have an injury-free season in 2025, or as injury-free as possible. It's the NFL. I feel like it's possible to have 0 injuries, but injury-free as possible. And for the compensation, we'll see. I said a 3rd and a 5th in my last video covering Jalen Ramsey. I do believe I was wrong on that, as we will get to the actual proposals right now. And Fowler's offer was as follows: a 2026 5th-round pick, which is what I said, although with a 3rd, and a 6th-round pick with cash considerations. And in his proposal, the Rams would cover at least $12 million of Ramsey's $20.2 million guaranteed money. And Graziano's offer was similar, proposing the Rams only give up a 7th-round pick in next year's draft as well. And I will happily admit that I was wrong about the 3rd round and 5th round pick. I overvalued Ramsey, the name himself, rather than what he is currently right now, which is a cornerback who looks like he is on the downturn of his career right now. But hopefully, for his sake and for any team who trades him sake, can trade for him, can turn that around, that he can bounce back. And going back to Fowler's offer here, with the Rams covering at least $12 million of the $20 million in guarantees, I don't know about that. I think the Dolphins should have to cover more of the money in a proposal. The 5th and the 6th and the cash considerations, I think, is fine. That's a very fair offer. If that was the Dolphins covering $12 million, fine. That's an offer I would do immediately. I mean, Graziano's offer is something I would do in a heartbeat. However, I wouldn't want the Dolphins to cover some of that guaranteed money if I am Les Snead trading for Ramsey, because it's going to be tougher to trade for him as he gets deeper into that contract. That contract does not end until he's 34. He's 30 right now. He'll be 31 by the time this upcoming season ends. And I want you to comment down below right now what you believe the Rams should give up for Ramsey if they do decide to go that route. Yeah, I would say a 5th and a 7th is suitable. If the Dolphins want cash considerations, fine. We can throw in $1 million if they really want that. And hopefully the Dolphins cover over half of the guaranteed money, because they should have to, considering that contract is not great in the current landscape of the NFL. And we do have a more in-depth write-up about Dan Graziano's proposal coming at you here. And my feeling is Ramsey gets released rather than traded, but either way, I'd argue the Dolphins aren't going to get a ton for him. The Rams know and like Ramsey. He likes it in Los Angeles too. So with this offer, it makes sense for the Rams to flip the pick they got from Baltimore in the Tre'Davious White deal. ESPN analyst Dan Graziano. Yeah, interesting to know. I actually forgot that we traded Tre'Davious White to the Ravens just because he was not a great signing last year and did not have a good year overall for either team that he played for. And at least we got a 7th round pick for him. So hey, flipping that pick into Ramsey, I would say is an upgrade there for sure. And I do agree with Dan Graziano's sentiment that Ramsey is most likely to get released. Again, the Dolphins would have to eat up way more of that dead cap space if he does get released. And if he does get released, I feel like 25-ish teams would be on to signing him, just because he'd be on such a cheaper contract. Like a 1-year, $5 million deal would probably suffice to sign Ramsey for a contender. Again, the Bengals should get on that, besides the Rams, if Ramsey does get released. But for Ramsey, the best situation for him might be to get released so he can be in the control, per se, as to where he wants to play. And comment down below, if Ramsey does get released, how much should the Rams pay for him? I said 1 year, $5 million. If you want to include some bonuses for games played and interceptions or tackles, fine. But 1 year, $5 million. Just make it fully guaranteed. It's $5 million. He's off the books after 2025 if he does not pan out. Comment that down below here. And obviously, Graziano's offer would be the better deal for the Rams, only giving up a 7th round pick next year without having to cover any of the additional money on Ramsey's contract. Okay, so that is good to know that they will not have to cover any of the additional money on Ramsey's contract. And other proposals from ESPN's expert included the Panthers giving up a 4th rounder. Don't know about that for the Panthers giving up a 4th rounder. And the Chargers and Dolphins swapping late round picks in 2027. That is a great deal for the Chargers. The Panthers, I don't think, need Ramsey, nor should they trade for Ramsey, especially for a 4th round pick. And I'm very surprised a team like the Commanders is not on here, considering they are a Super Bowl contender heading into this year and desperately needed to upgrade that defense for sure. So again, the Rams seem to be the favorites to land Jalen Ramsey as of right here, right now. And all told, the cost of the team doesn't seem to be very high in any potential deal for Ramsey. It's the contract that remains the biggest hurdle, particularly for a 30-year-old cornerback heading to his 31st birthday. Yes, it's definitely the contract that is holding this up. The contract is really what lowers the value for Ramsey, because I still believe he has something left in the tank. Again, he has had some leg injuries. He had the knee injury in early in his tenure in Miami, but he came back, and I remember he had like a pick 6 in his first game back, and he looked absolutely amazing throughout the rest of that season. So those injuries looked like they took a toll on him a little bit last year, and we'll see if that continues. Hopefully, for Ramsey's sake and for whoever he plays for, hopefully it's the Rams, but for whoever he plays for, he needs to be better than he was last year. And now we have a story going about the Rams' pass rush and just how exactly they're able to develop such devastating pressure on every single opposing quarterback. And this story is from Rams Wire and PFF, really giving us more of a deep dive as to how exactly the Rams' defensive front is able to provide such elite pressure to quarterbacks on any offensive line. And this is from Rams Wire again. And the Los Angeles Rams defense came out strong at the end of the season, particularly on the pass rushing side. The quartet of Jared Verse, Braden Fisk, Kobe Turner, and Byron Young combined for 28.5 sacks in 2024 and proved to be a formidable unit for opposing offensive lines. Yes, totally agree. I think it's one of the best front fours in all of football, really. Again, the Eagles are for sure better. But outside of that, I don't really have a team that looks to be for sure better than this front four, considering their age. They're young, they play their own way, they don't try to be like anyone else, they all play like themselves, they play for each other, they're really good at creating space for each other as well, because you can't double any of them. That's another beauty about this front is you can't double any of them because if one of them is left uncovered, they're getting to the quarterback. They're either going to get a quarterback hit, quarterback pressure, or a sack. Sorry about that there. And Chris Shula's group was best at a particular pass rush style, though. According to Pro Football Focus analyst Dalton Wasserman, the Rams generated pressure with stunts at an impressive 51.4% rate over half of the time. And stunts are when two pass rushers confuse the offensive line by crossing their gaps to try to get to the backfield. So pretty much they kind of cross pass while rushing the passer there, and they're really good at rotating throughout the defensive line so that no one's really in the same position over and over. And that is absolutely amazing to see that Chris Shula is really able to use this to disguise their defense, confuse offenses, because Chris Shula, again, another underrated coordinator on this Rams team. If he has another great year, he might be another McVay coordinator that turns into a head coach. But for now, Chris Shula looks to lead this defense to a Super Bowl ring. And actually, Wasserman gave more insight about how the Rams use stunts on their defense as well. And Jared Verse and the Rams make their first appearance here, finishing with the 5th highest stunt rate in the league, Wasserman wrote. More impressively, they were the most effective team when using stunts, leading the NFL in pressure rate, ranking 2nd in pass rush grade, and placing 4th in pass rush win rate, according in these situations. And PFF writer and analyst Dalton Wasserman said this. Pass rush win rate is basically you win your block and you get into the backfield. Whether you create a sack or not, that would be like a quarterback hurry type of stat. And that's really important. Even if the Rams defenders aren't creating sacks, they're still getting into the backfield and they're still creating these pressures and hurries, making quarterbacks having to either scramble, which again, if you're Lamar Jackson, you might prefer to scramble, but if you're someone like a Jared Goff or a Sam Darnold like we saw in the playoffs, it really generates pressure, sacks, turnovers. We saw the Rams use that defense in that wild card game to really just put an end to the Vikings and absolutely dominate them, and how it turned into easy points for the offense and had the whole team clicking. And that is super important for them. And this scheme makes sense for the Rams' young, quick, and versatile collection of pass rushers. The issue is that they weren't very good at defending the run, and that's where nose tackle Poona Ford comes in. Yes, Poona Ford from the Chargers. A lot of my Chargers friends were quite annoyed that the Rams swooped him up from the Chargers. And this is what the Rams needed. A pure run stopper. See Saquon, tackle Saquon. That literally should be a line in his contract. You know, you see a healthy Christian McCaffrey, or Christian McCaffrey in general, but hopefully he's healthy, you tackle him. You see any star running back, Gibbs and Montgomery, you tackle him. You see Derrick Henry, tackle him. Just get any running back to the ground as soon as possible. Poona Ford is going to come up big against teams like the Lions, the Ravens, and the Eagles for sure. And even the Bucs with Bucky Irving. Funny enough, Bucky Irving on the Bucs, and his great rookie season. It'll be very important for Poona Ford to stop him as well later on in the season, as that's a Sunday Night Football game with most likely playoff implications on the line there. And Poona Ford is going to be that number one run defender for the Rams that they desperately needed. And comment down below what you think Poona Ford's, acumen is going to be on this defense and how he's going to contribute. And what are his stats going to be? Is he going to stuff the run and get a lot of tackles for loss? Or is he going to struggle a little bit on this defense? So comment down below how many sacks you think the Rams defense can get. They got 28.5 alone in the second half of the year. And I'm going that they're going to get, I think they can get 50. I think this Rams defense can have over 50 sacks this year. Comment down below right now if you agree. And LA will need its defensive front to continue to develop if it wants to improve on its 2024 season. And if their stunt usage is anything to go by, they can certainly build on their quality season a year ago. Yeah, I fully agree. Use those stunts, but also try to develop some different types of schemes that can also develop pressure. Because if the Rams do rely too heavily on one thing, like any NFL team, offenses are too smart, quarterbacks are smart, coordinators are smart, coaches are smart. They're going to be able to figure it out, and they're going to be able to really use it as a weakness against you. Not the stunts. I don't see the Rams stunt ever becoming a weakness for them, but I highly doubt that a 51.4 pass win rate is really going to be able to hold up for an entire season and a half. If it's 45%, I'd be really happy with that, and the Rams should continue to use it, but they do need to develop other schemes as well. The stunt, great for the Rams, need to keep using it as well as develop, as I have been saying. And that is all for this episode of Rams Digest. Thank you very much for watching another episode. Comment down below what you think the Rams should give up for Jalen Ramsey if they do make a trade. I said a 5th and a 6th or a 5th and a 7th should be enough. And comment down below if he gets cut, what his contract should be. I said 1 year, $5 million, make it fully guaranteed, just so he's more enticed to sign here. Again, he's off the books after this year if he does not have a good year, or he gets hurt, or he does not want to be here after a year. No matter what, he would be gone. And comment down below the defense sacks number for this upcoming season. I have them at 50. And thank you again for watching. Make sure to subscribe, hit that bell so you do not miss any daily new Rams Digest videos covering all things Rams. Have your notifications set to all so you actually do get notified. Thank you again for watching. I've been your host, Joshua Finehirsh, and I'll see you soon for another episode of Rams Digest, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.